Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Aquarius Rising Africa. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. And yeah, welcome back to me with me, Chantal, your hostess with the mostess for sure. And I have with me again today the lovely Anna Bartkova. Um, and it was probably maybe 2 months ago. Between 2 and 3 months ago, we did our first interview with Anna, who was had an unfortunate just experience, multitude of unfortunate experiences in the professional tennis arena. Her stepdad slash coach slash handler was obviously her abuser as well. While her mom, I guess, unconsciously was complicit in handing Anna over. I think this is such a common thread. We see this so often in the system where the kids are separated, especially from their mothers, in various ways, because mom would obviously be the main protector. And we're seeing more and more how these predators get in with either single moms or moms who are vulnerable. Um, Dad's working away from home. I know in our recent show we spoke a lot about Chris Latera, whose father was working away from home, and his mom literally sold him into the CIA when he was 6 years old. And they worked it so that the dad was kept away all the time. In your case, it's the other way around, Anna, where your dad, your stepdad, it wasn't even your biological dad, had full control, or I'd say 90% control over you, and your mom ended up having very little control over you. Firstly, welcome back, and thank you so much for being here again, where with you filling us in on the second part of your story. But I think maybe if you wouldn't mind just going back to and just recap again for our viewers, with your words, the beginnings of your life.
Yes, thank you for having me. And this, this personal story was obviously my life, and I didn't question it at the time of the being a child, because I knew and I felt that my mom just was trying to survive, and so I have to kind of make a small adjustments and recap. So my mom was wanting to start a new relationship in migrating in the country where her new partner was living. And this was from Czech Republic to Germany. I was 9 years old when we moved. And my stepdad was kind of providing the tool for, for her um, idea to kind of get out of the poverty and use me. So he wasn't the abuser. I want to say, I have to say. So kind of he was physically abusing me with hits, but he didn't knew better. He was himself was the mindset of this time in Czech Republic was that kids has to be brought up this way. So there were really a small number of children that were not being, how you say, hidden. So my mom already experienced this kind of childhood, and yeah. So later on, when they got separated, there comes in his own professional trainer. And this was a former handler for women. So he was a pimp, or how you say in the English language. And but his main kind of yeah job was professional trainer, and there starts the sexual abuse, where I kind of get into the level where there are 4 years left to get on the WTA tour, where you play professional sport and start from junior career to the grown-up career where you start earning money. And yeah, this was, and this is really interesting because I'm when I'm talking about it, I'm really not thinking that I'm affected by it, but it's really hard to talk about it. So last time I was really feeling okay, and the start is you shaking inside, and but I talked about in my past so lot. I'm not having consciously a problem with it, but it is a trauma. It sticks with you and it affects everything your whole life. So
Yes.
if you are, yeah, should,
No, I was just agreeing with you when you say it sticks with you your whole life. It's a trauma that does not go away. You know, the way I explain that often over the years in my healing practice, it's like I would say, okay, imagine a cell looks like a little round ball, okay? And obviously, when the cell replicates itself, the mother cell replicates the daughter cells exactly like she is. And if the mother cell is healthy, the daughter cells are going to be healthy as well. But it's almost like when you have that type of trauma, it literally changes the shape of your cells.
yeah,
It contorts who
yeah,
you
and you are
are.
creating it. I know it. I am creating it. I know. Yes.
You know, I think it's when you're a little girl like that and when you're a child, I think it's not that you are creating it. You're not creating it. You are absolutely being a victim of abuse. You know, what we create is what happens in the years thereafter. How, you know, obviously in the adult years, and again, the continuation of the trauma. So a child will always be innocent, always. And unfortunately, a lot of the children don't get to heal. They either continue to be the abusers themselves, or they end up really being reserved, maybe hermits, whatever the case might be in many instances, right? And
Yeah.
it's so good. And I can imagine what you're saying, you know, that you're speaking, and it is traumatic to speak about it every time. I think it's healing as well, but it's like taking a scab off a wound, right? Or taking a band-aid off a wound and just allowing that final healing to occur. So it's sensitive. It's painful,
Yes.
but I appreciate you doing that. And you
No,
know,
I'm really happy being on, and I feel the same way. I feel because it's very personal, and there is also a daughter of mine where I have to kind of think too on that she is not affected
mhm,
negatively because she has to do her own choices, and but I still think and feel the way you are yeah explaining it, that the opening up about it publicly is is the first step to also you don't have to open everyone don't has to open up about his trauma publicly, but to open up to a person that it's neutral, and yeah, to kind of, even if you are really living it, and this is what I mean by I'm creating it, I'm creating recreating the trauma feeling again. So it's like when
I'm with
a
you.
yeah wild animal is on the run and shaken up of his its trauma by being having survived, the same happens inside now as we talk, and then later it's going a bit away and better, but
Better.
it's crazy.
Yes. But I think that sort of takes me back to what I was saying, and I like the conversation here because I really think it's important from a healer's perspective, if other viewers are experiencing something similar, this is such an important point. It's like when you say we're creating that. And I say yes and no. The child and the child's trauma literally had the shape of her cells changed through trauma. So automatically she goes back to that default, whether it's in relationships or whatever, that trauma response. We all have a trauma response. And I think, of course, the responsibility comes in exactly what you've just doing now, is saying, yes, I'm creating it. The awareness is there that probably what I'm creating is not always true. It's a reaction from me,
Yeah,
from a trauma place. But the first step to healing is acknowledging that you are doing that. And once
yeah,
you've acknowledged that, you can then start the process of recreating your healing journey, or sitting with yourself and doing the shadow work, and obviously as what you have been doing. So I think that's also such a fine line. Again, I think if being working with SRA victims has taught me one thing, it's we've got to use our words so carefully.
yeah,
And not that we have to, not that they're contrived, but words are such a powerful tool that
yeah,
these guys use, and it's like we've got to be so aware of how they've programmed us with words. So we are absolutely amazingly powerful creators as human beings,
yeah,
which is, as I always say, why they've stolen what they have from us. But we are reclaiming that now. And that's the beauty of seeing people like yourself, Anna. Just, sit up and speak, and being aware of the trauma that's gone down. And you're aware of what's happened um, in your life due to this. But
yeah,
what's lovely is that you actually acknowledge it's about walking yourself back as well.
yeah. Yes, Shanti. So I I have realized that perpetrators are working a lot of with the not with the not awareness, not existent awareness about being in a 0 point. So you are kind of reacting as a victim, and when you go as a child in this kind of frequency, so you match it. This is very common for you. You feel safe there. This is also something. Yeah, people that did not experience it need time to catch up, to understand. Even medical professionals, this kind of area is even about, not included into the normal chronic illnesses that are resulting out of it. So which was in my case the point. So yes, there were an abuse and physical abuse, not only sexual, but not only this hittings, but there was a lot of abuse in the form of training too much. It was too much. So I am just um, had to work with this body. This body was at that point not even fully grown up. So 8 hours a day, it's a physical matter, and at some point something breaks or will be damaged. So I have in my whole body multiple organ system failure and problems. My bladder, an example, my bladder is not from my early 20s, not emptying normally. So this are really hardcore problems which you have to integrate in your life, and there is no point to go to and get help. So this was my experience, so to say, um, after the career, which I ended before it started. And
How old were
I
you?
managed. Sorry, yeah,
How old were you when you say got out? When did you
yeah,
escape from the clutches of your stepfather?
yeah, yeah. My stepfather was out of my life with as I was 12, but his trainer came in that time, and with 16, I got
Hmm,
16, 17, I got out. 17.
right.
Yeah,
How did you get out? What was the final step for you that got you
yeah.
out?
Um, that was the point where I was talking about in our first show, where my mother kind of consulted her friend and she warned her that I will be getting pregnant. She is in psychic. And this was the point why my mother organized um, having a place in Czech Republic from Germany back to Czech Republic into the Czech national tennis team, where I stayed for about 3 months or so. And there I was already injured so bad in the area of my spine where I kind of knew this is it. I will not get there. Even I was very close, but I felt I will not survive it when I'm not making the choice. And I was thinking about it from my 15th birthday age of 15 to 17. This was the 2 years I was already playing because I felt that my body is shutting down. And my mother was the typical manager mom, kind of, really calculated. I was the product. She was loving too, but not in the mm, average, normal relationship sense. There was, I think, from the point she decided that I will play tennis and will go into this career, there was a kind of a distance. I couldn't reach her as a mom, as you would normally. If I try to, an example, if I try to talk about it in that I'm feeling that my body is not yeah, not, I will not make it, so to say. I can't no more. There was no hearing of this fact.
No compassion.
Yes,
You were a machine. You were just a machine that was giving her money and giving her a ways of income, basically. You were a
yeah, you
slave. You
have
were a
to
child slave.
yes, you have to kind of see that the fact is that you, as a junior tennis player, you don't earn. Yeah, so this was all maybe think that I will go or get to a, yeah, to a specific level where we maybe then will earn. But there was no plan B. That was really childish when I have to say it from the point of view when I'm now grown up. So yeah, the, the chance is very small that you will kind of get multimillionaire and get on the top of top 20, top 50. And there you have to be to be, yeah, forever okay financially, because you have to imagine, Shanti, you have a lot of costs in this kind of area, this sport, So yes, and a lot of people want to make it. So, yeah,
Of course. Of course. Of course. Hey, I was a tennis player. I mean, I
you know,
know.
Mr. Kat.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I know the competitive tennis heart for sure. Um, so when you finally got out and you were able to leave at 17, talk us through what happened then, and then of course at some point you did have a child, right? And speak to us on what's happened around that since then, since you've had your
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. Okay, Shanti. So I am. in the place where I now take you guys, where I have to kind of give my whole being a year of doing nothing. I was really just in, for me, for a complete whole year at home and trying to, yeah, adjust the body because there are on a daily basis situations where you go the stairs backwards because you have so much pain in your muscles. I don't know the word in English where you when you train you have the the special. Give me a second. I have to. Give me just a second.
Oh, good.
Sore muscle, and you
Yeah.
live with this, and the whole body is adjusting and when you have a other heart rate, everything is different. Your body is completely just for built up for the sport, and now from one day to another you do nothing, so that this wasn't also a good idea, so to say, but I could no more. So 1 year just hanging around. And so now imagine the personal awareness and the point where I got out of the sport. There was just the sport. I didn't watch TV. I hadn't had social contact. I was 24/7 with my trainer because this is all the time you need to kind of be there and train and do the work. And this takes your whole time away. So I had no clue. I was taken out of the school, of the public school. So my mom kind of had, yeah, she was very um, special in the communication and influencing people. So she kind of managed that I could stay out of school for a half year, and yeah, and it wasn't a problem for because I got a diploma where were no notes, but they did write down that I was there. So I was missing in school, so I didn't have an education where I had could kind of to yeah, start somewhere. So at that point, my mom decided that I will be a hairstylist. I don't know why. and and she managed to um, buy a diploma so I can start the educational level. So I was missing the grade where you are able to go out of school, you know? So, sorry. Wait, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Secondary
There's no
school
rush.
diploma. Yeah, that was missing. So my mom did yeah, graphic designer that she knew they made one, have made one, and I could start a vocational training in the sector of hairstyling. So, and as I was still living in her home, I didn't have it, there was no change in the approach to my person, that now I am a sovereign being, this wasn't existing. I was still the product. Okay, so now with tennis it wasn't going well, so now she kind of started to push me into marry a guy which has money, so to say. So it was always, yeah, in this kind of basis.
When did the abuse with your trainers end? And did she know about that then?
Yeah,
Was she
so,
aware of that?
mm, so, I can only say the facts that I have, and as a child what I witnessed, you know. So let let's go back to the point where he comes in my life and we start to train. So there was one meeting before I moved in his flat where they two met with me in the tennis in the tennis club, and yeah, they were kind of having a meeting. And after that, I did 2 months after I did get the information that I will move with him into his flat, to his flat.
Mm.
And this flat was having one bedroom, you know. So, and my mom wasn't even there to he was picking me up. So yeah, if you now we are the most of us are mothers, so we know when we would kind of, you know, bring our children to some, you would make sure that, I mean, yes, she, of course, that was the deal. For me, it's clear. I don't have a slightest doubt. So there were also later, I tried to kind of, I always tried after that to have a normal relationship, to give her a chance to speak about it with me and just to say the truth. You know, no, if this was your fault. And I do really, from my standpoint and point of view now, understand a lot because I was also not healthy with a child alone. And, you know, so I know this kind of problems and I know this can create a lot of things that can be then very unpleasant. So I just wanted to hear the truth, but I did not. And later, I mean, two years ago, she didn't say no. You know, she was always kind of pushing this back, and yeah, and now she didn't say no. So I'm pretty sure she knew this was the deal. Maybe they didn't talk about it in the slice words. What
Yeah,
will
it
happen? You
was,
know?
yeah, it was never spelt out in writing that
Yeah,
you would be his basically objective desire, but obviously that would be. So she, for sure, I mean, if you handing over your daughter to a man and she's in her pre-teens in a one-bedroom apartment, what the
yeah,
fuck? Yeah, no,
yeah.
absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
also with his history as a handler, you know, that was also clear. She knew it. So,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Okay. 12, with 12, this was then the situation where I kind of, yeah, realized I don't want to go back to her because there I'm also not safe. So maybe I try to kind of please everyone. So I have a um, safe place. Even I have to have sex with an old man. This is the truth. So I have no problem to spell out the truth. This was what I was thinking as a child. I was shocked. I felt alone. It was too much. I didn't have a place to go, and there were also later on situation because you don't have to you have to imagine I had a father still. My father was living in Czech Republic or is, and my dad was and still is married to a child psychologist. And with 15, I was visiting them and I was reporting about the abuse and that I don't want to go back to her. And they didn't let me stay. Yeah.
So your father actually knew that you were being abused and he was married
My
to a child.
grandma too, Shanti. I told everyone. I told my brother, he's 6 years older. I told everyone after it did happen and I had a break, you know, when I was visiting, for example, my family in the Czech Republic with 15, this special occasion where my dad was um, having a third child with his new wife. which his wife knew me from my fifth birthday. So, that was not a new relationship they got. She is kind of my stepmother, She know me from my smallest. So I told them, and no one did react. No one. Yeah. I had to go back. Yeah.
And I am so sorry to hear that. That has got to be one of the most awful things for a child, that you actually have gone to your father, his wife, who's a child psychologist, your grandparents, you've told them you're being abused by this man, and no one has done anything. They send you straight back to him.
Yeah. And I um, I really pointed out that my mom is allowing it, and that there is something with my mom that I can't feel safe with her. She's making decisions that are dangerous for me as a teenager. I was aware, and
Sure.
you know, and no, nothing. And then I had to realize that, yeah, I have to help myself. I have to help myself. So alone, practically. And So now we are in the time of the 2 years where I kind of, yeah, I already realizing, sorry, dogs bite. I'm realizing, Chanti, no, this this will not work. I really have to have a new plan, and I need to somehow find a way where I don't have to be dependent on my mom and also not on my trainer, kind of alone. And yeah, the hairstyling vocational educational 3 years that did provide me a background which I could kind of start to work, of course, but you are not earning that much. And I already started to have so major health issues that I realized I really need kind of, yeah, still um, get my sorry high school diploma. So I started to work after I was after my education training was over. So I was a hairstylist, and then I was working half day occasion and yeah, going to evening school. So trying to um, catch up my high school diploma so I can study, because I was aware that I have to have an educational background to help myself, because there is no one. If I get now more and more ill, I kind of already realized how hard it will get. So, but in this time, the, I I I wasn't feeling good anymore, and I was always so tired. I was not normally tired, so I kind of had a hard time to even get this amount of day work and the school, and it wasn't. And then I also realized at school, that I have not enough basic education to kind of um, do the 10th grade, 11th grade. There was missing big parts of my school, you know.
So your
Um,
education, obviously you missed a lot of your education, and then
yes,
your
yes,
mom kind of bought you a diploma of sorts that you enabled
yes,
you to do a hair styling
yes,
certification, and then you obviously did that. So were you doing that for a while then,
yes,
doing that, and but you realizing that you have health issues, obviously, as you're
and
doing that.
yes, and that I was doing the first tests, and they were not good. So I already realized I this will also not working out. there is missing too much of the past of the school education. Yes, exactly. Sorry with my, my English.
Yeah.
Yes. So and so and also wasn't fitting anywhere in, with my mental kind of I wasn't normal 19, 20 years old from my mental awareness. So I didn't felt with the same people, like dating the same age. It wasn't I didn't felt understood. I was handling when there were conflicts different. I was reacting different than the normal people. I wasn't fitting anywhere in. Also, this was also a very lonely
Right.
place to be. So
Right.
because yes, so you have to imagine I was not only missing the education, but also the whole life. You kind of where you prepare your child from, I don't know, 12th
Yeah, your
birthday to
formative years.
18. Yes, there were
Yeah.
there were all sorts of yeah, empty, missing parts to be able to provide a good, normal, stable life for myself. So I felt really
Yeah.
helpless also.
Yeah.
And there I realized, so if I kind of, and there was also this inner wish to forget about my own childhood. So to make the step to be an early mother, to kind of, yeah, um,
How old
make
were you when you fell pregnant?
21 when I
Right.
got my child. 20 pregnant and 21 I got my child.
Right. Okay. So were you involved with the father? Were you in a relationship, or was this some
Yeah.
so a relationship? Yeah.
So you have to laugh. Yes.
No,
And
I want to just make sure that it wasn't some kind of a dodgy handler or something.
no,
You
no,
know.
not. But so there. So I try to really give. I do my best to explain. So my inner thought was, yeah, I kind of wish for my life that I will get somewhere with my education still, and but I also would love to, yeah, forget about my own childhood. So I felt the inner need to um, create a boundary between my mom, because she was still in the near of my life, and to be a grown up, to have my own life, a stable family life, which I never had. So this was the pillars that I was wishing for myself, but I didn't have the awareness who I have to choose, even, or even having have for me the tools to realize what are red flags, and if you like to have this kind of life and relationship, what for partner you should not choose or even should choose. So the stable, yeah, if we go by um, rate, or psychologists are making the um, I mean the people that are stable, that are mostly meeting in their time of study, university, there are then mostly their whole life together, so that are the people, so to say, from the middle class families. And if you don't have that, you have to have a lot of put in a lot of work, and even being already aware with, before you creating a new life, what will be the consequence if you take this choice. And this was completely missing for me. I I mean, I didn't felt okay, and the guys in my age were not so ready for this kind of life which I was wishing for. So I was dating the same age boys, 20, mid 20, and there was no interest in to get relatively, I don't know, like a life plan where you kind of say, okay, 2 years together, then we kind of make the step. And I did not find this kind of partner. And the only partner that I found in this time was 20 years older. And this was creating this imbalance where he was very much in charge and it did not went well. So it was violent. It was in principle the same type of man in a, not he hadn't had something to do with criminal stuff like being a handler, but there this approach where very toxic masculine kind of, yeah. And so we had a plan, and but all the plans we made were kind of not. Um, he wasn't keeping with it up after I got our daughter. So yeah, the plan was that
Right.
I will, in the time when she is till she is 3 years old, and I have to stay home, or I want to stay with her home, so I can yeah make the school. And this wasn't, yeah, he did not hold the promise, so to say. And it was, yeah, it was really bad because direct after the birth, I was so ill that I was lying in bed. I had to lie. I didn't have the power to live, so to say. I was losing weight. I was after the childbirth. I had 25 kilos more in my pregnancy, and I lost it all after giving birth. This this illness my body and I did create with the trauma, is mainly in the area of sacral chakra, so where the abuse, also sexual abuse connection is. There is also the bladder, sure. So this was the main problem I had, and I was kind of yeah, couldn't, yeah, I could, she didn't move, turn around, so I couldn't have a normal childbirth. So this is also an indication, you know it as a healer, for the abuse. And I didn't have the power, Shanti, to even kind of take care for myself. So this was a very serious situation with a small baby there. I mean, he was stable financially as a restaurant owner. So this was okay, but I was really dependent. He wasn't the type of partner that he would take care of her so I can go work in my old job. So I was double kind of dependent and abused again. And I managed to get away when she was kind of 4 years old, completely, where I find I had to, completely fill my new apartment. There was no help, nothing. So that that are basic needs, and they can be so big problems for a person when you kind of can't provide for yourself because of your illness. So, and the special situation on top of that was that the doctors didn't find anything, you know. So I just had symptoms, and I always so, and the doctors asked at some point they are really they don't want to help you anymore because they think you're having psychiatric problems, you know. So, but there were still like the facts that the heart rate was extremely up, so tachycardia, or you say in English. So there was
So
heart racing.
you were experiencing a lot of obviously psychosomatic problems as well. Obviously as a what result of the abuse you'd experienced in your
I'm not
childhood.
sure,
And
Shanti. Yes, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure this is always the case, but later, where I found then the anesthetist where he took a biopsy, and there obviously is an illness, and this illness is, for example, in Spain, you are full not able to work, so here in Spain, it's accepted that you are kind of unable to work.
disabled.
So disabled, yeah, exactly, 100%. So this illness is quite serious, and when we go from the perspective 3D mindset, and this can create all kinds of problems, and I have kind of to that. So I'm maybe having, fibromyalgia can be the next thing, or these are all this. Yeah, we know where it comes from, but I mean the symptoms are there, and the psychiatrist can give you a antidepressant, but it's not taking your pain away. I mean, you are still there. So, and also the therapy, sure, these are all tools you have to kind of, but you have to make a human, um, I mean, with a bit stable, with that you can accept the pain. I mean, I don't say that you have to be pain-free when you are this kind of ill, but you can't leave a human with a pain level of 7 to 8 because you cannot eat, you cannot sleep, you can do nothing. Yeah. So this was my situation, and there I had to help myself somehow again. And if we go from the soul perspective, yeah, there I wanted to create for me maybe a very advanced experience where I learned to really help myself energetically. And there, after 15, 20 years of exploring the medical field and being with having a partner as an internist, a doctor, and I get it. I mean, I will not explore more. I'm really happy that I don't have to go to a doctor because I can help always myself. I know exactly when I have to have an antibiotic or not. So I learned to kind of live with this illness, And you have to imagine, um, I'm, for example, when I work, I have every month an infect because my immune system is so down because of the pain and yes, but these are all the symptoms. When I want to heal, I get it. I have to go to the root of the problem. But this, so the tennis was a really special negative experience, but what came later was really a life survival pure thing. And
Right.
that's why I'm really sensitive to suffering. This is the point why I also speak up because I'm really sorry for about this kind of suffering. And this, I mean, Shanti, there are so many people suffering like this.
I'm aware.
Yeah,
I'm aware that that there are a lot of people in the world who've not spoken up and who don't speak up and who don't feel like their story has validity or whatever it might be, or they're scared to speak up, whatever it might be. And of course, your health takes its toll on, the body keeps the score. Every cell in your body contains the experiences of your life. So, yes, it can absolutely take its toll on your health. But Anna, I'm very happy that you've obviously are coming through it and are, speaking up and healing and all of that. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I really do appreciate that. I really do.
yeah, me too.
And I wish you many years of continued healing and strength for your beautiful daughter as well.
Thank
And
you.
I think every person out there who's experienced anything remotely like this, I think it's so important to speak up and use your voice, as so many of the survivors are right now. So thank you again, Anna. Is there anything you want to maybe just say to the viewers, to the audience in closing?
Yes, I'm always when it's getting so tough that I think I don't make it, and this was really on a daily basis in my life. But I'm trying to remember and imagine in that particular point that there are, and I saw it with my own eyes in the intensive medical care, people that are really having a much harder time. And I know this doesn't mean that your trauma and pain doesn't have the same validity. I mean, just you are not alone. You are really not alone.
Mm, mm. I think that's very important what you just said there at the end. You're not alone. And reach out,
And I think
reach
that
out
it's
to some.
this is also, sorry, Shanti, what you always say from the soul perspective, we don't know what for special and powerful experience, even if it's full of suffering and you think you really hate this life, or you are not aligning with the experiences you are going through, you don't know from the soul perspective what for powerful result and a meaning it does have. And this is also something very, yes, something for the heart. It's no matter how hard you went through stuff that is ugly and you don't even like to remember. Look, if it did not kill you, then it makes the most of us stronger and more beautiful and compassionate. And this is what the perpetrator are really missing. There are empty bodies, so to say, if you feel inside. And I'm sorry for them when you
Yeah,
go from
exactly.
the, you know, for me, it's like a teenager
Absolutely.
that does not find a way to hit hard. Yeah.
Exactly. If you think about a normal, healthy male, the last thing on his mind is to hurt a child. A
Yeah.
healthy male never ever wants to hurt a child. So you can imagine when he starts to remember what he's done to the children,
Yeah.
and when he takes away the layers and the veils and the illusions and the greed and whatever else drove him to those actions, I think that's the hell we live in, is when perpetrators like that actually remember. because they can drive themselves crazy just remembering that.
Yeah.
So any person who's done that to an innocent child, their own hell awaits them, because
I
no one
feel the
puts
same.
you in hell quite the way that you yourself do. I mean, we
Yeah.
all know what it's like when we torture our minds, our own
Yeah.
minds, right, with thoughts because of maybe something stupid we said, or we said something we shouldn't have, or what have you. I mean, I
Yeah.
imagine what's going to happen in your own mind when you
Yeah.
start reclaiming and recalling that you've raped and tortured kids and you've got to live with that reality.
Yeah.
Dear God, I don't want to be you. I don't want to be you.
Yeah.
So thank you, and I appreciate
Thank
that,
you,
and I
Ken.
appreciate, yeah, and I take care of you and your beautiful daughter, and we will definitely see you around.
Yeah.
And to,
I'm a huge fan. I'm watching.
yeah, I really appreciate you. I see you in the chats a lot, so yeah, I appreciate you being there, and thank you for speaking up and just sharing your story, And to all our viewers out there, let us never forget what we're hearing here is absolutely, it's not unusual. That's the thing. This sort of thing happens so commonly amongst people. And we as parents and adults really owe it to our children to keep our eyes open. When we see shit like this going down, man, we got to call it out. Somebody has to call it out. If we keep quiet, I think it was Gandhi that said, was it Gandhi that said, bad things happen when good men keep quiet or remain silent, something like that. There's a saying that goes. And that's exactly this. Atrocities occur when we refuse to speak, when we know what's going on, but we'll just turn the other eye. Yeah, eye, whatever. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching Anna's story. Like, share, subscribe. There are so many people who really need to hear this. And I can imagine I know, not must be, I know there are many young girls, especially, and boys. I can only relate from a girl's perspective. That doesn't mean that it's not happening with boys, of course. But just to lying there in shame, not knowing how to deal with this because so many kids are too scared. So the only way to stop this is to speak up and to speak out. We can't carry on allowing our kids to be abused like this anymore. That's for sure. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. Take good care, and I'll see you soon. As you can see, it's freezing cold in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Hopefully, tomorrow it'll be warm again. Okay, guys, take care. Mwah.